Hey, welcome back to the Infinite Woman Universe Show. I'm your host, Angela, and today I'm going to share with you everything that you need to know about boundaries. So if you struggle with boundaries, if you struggle with knowing what they are, if you struggle with implementing them and standing strong in them, stay tuned because this video is for you. I'm Angela. I'm trauma healer and self-sabotage slayer. I help women entrepreneurs release everything that's holding them back so that they can live on their terms and do business their way. And for many, many years, I have struggled with setting boundaries. It was one of those things that I didn't even know existed at one point. And then when I was healing, I didn't have any at all. I don't know what it is about healing that makes you like completely do the opposite. But I didn't have any boundaries then. And then when I really started to come out the other side of my healing, I started to realize that I needed to get really good at implementing boundaries and standing strong in them. And even then, I still sucked at them in relationships, and don't even get me started. So in this universe show, we're not going to have journal prompts. We're not going to have a guided meditation. Things have been a little bit crazy. My daughter didn't have any school today, so I'm like doing the recording in between time, hoping that she stays like in the room watching TV for a little bit. But also there's going to be huge changes coming up in the next year or so that are going to be absolutely amazing, and I'm so excited about it. So make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you can be one of the first ones to know what is going on and what to expect. I want to give you all the details because I already know what's happening, but you gotta wait. So just be prepared though. There's going to be something huge launching that's absolutely free. There's going to be a challenge and then something else that is going to be launching in addition, and I'm super stoked for it. So again, make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you're interested. It is going to be targeted, directed towards female entrepreneurs and helping them live on their terms and do business their way. So if that resonates with you, subscribe, baby. Okay, let's get into these boundaries, okay? I have clients come to me all the time. I struggle with boundaries. I'm not good with them. I have people all the time that when I talk about posts or when I create content about boundaries, people immediately tell me I struggle with boundaries, okay? And one of the first things that I want you to know, hey baby. How's that for cuteness? Okay. One of the first things that I want you to know about boundaries is not just specifically about saying no. And I feel like when we talk about boundaries, the no part becomes such a huge hang up that we can't move past everything else. And that's what causes boundaries to, I guess, it causes us to struggle with boundaries. It causes us not to understand fully what they are. So I want you to know right here, right now, that boundaries are not specifically just about saying no, okay? Boundaries, this is how I want you to see boundaries. Boundaries is like the foundation of your house. Before you ever put any wood up, before you ever put any type of structure up, before you lay, the tile, before you put the bathrooms in, you build this foundation, right? You have to make sure that the earth is even, and then you have to make sure that there's plumbing put in, and then you make sure that the concrete is laid out and everything is like working out perfectly. It might be the plumbing is laid after the concrete, but you get the idea, okay? I'm not a contractor. I don't really know how that works. But you get the idea, okay? Boundaries are going to be the foundation of your house. And if you do not have the foundation properly built for your house, what happens? Well, it cracks, it falls apart. And if you've ever watched HGTV, you know exactly what happens. It sinks. It puts a huge crack in the roof, right? So we don't really want any of those things. And we don't want any of those things because we want our house to last a long time, right? We want our house to last a long time because it's an investment. We pay in it. We keep the house up. We make it look beautiful. We do all of these things. So of course, we want our house to be built on something that has a lasting foundation, okay? So boundaries are your foundation. So what exactly does that mean? Okay, so what exactly does this mean? Because this might be very overwhelming or confusing for some of you, and which I totally and completely understand. So this is what I want you, hi baby. This is what I want you to really see or get a visualization if you didn't quite understand the house and the foundation. Okay? I want you to imagine that you are a lake, okay? And in order for the lake to go out to the ocean, right? Because all water eventually leads to the ocean. If you want to be able to lead out to that ocean, there's land, okay? There's land along this lake that is guiding you to the ocean, that is guiding you out, that is, guiding you through the wave, okay? I want you to picture you as that energy. Essentially, what you are doing is you are allowing your energy to flow within this structure. So what that means is that boundaries are not just about saying no. No matter what coach or guru tries to tell you, boundaries are not just about saying no. They're about no and yes. They're about what you like and what you don't like, what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not willing to tolerate. Your morals, your values, your life's work, your mission, your passion. It is basically everything that you value, everything that you feel like you want to stand strong in. This is your structure. This is your boundary. This is the land. And then it's your energy that is flowing through this land. And without the land, the water just goes all over the place. And we don't want the water to just go all over the place, right? Because if you're a female entrepreneur or an entrepreneur in general, you want to be able to have laser focus. And in order to have laser focus, you have to have the energy behind it. And if you don't have the energy behind it, then what happens? Nothing, right? And I know that you don't have time for that. I know that that's not what you want. I know that you are beyond committed. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here watching this video, trying to figure out how to implement boundaries and how to do boundaries and all of the things, right? So it's important to understand that boundaries are very much the structure of who you are. And if this cannot get any more distracting. So when you think of it this way, it makes things so much easier rather than pressuring yourself to say no all the time. And that's just what boundaries are. Okay, so now that we've got that under cover, one of the best ways for you to start practicing implementing your boundaries, standing strong in your boundaries, is to actually stop worrying about saying no and start focusing on what yes is for you. A hell yes, not just a yes, a hell yes. And if you don't know how to tell that within your body, then what I want you to do is I want you to go to humandesign.com or something like that. And I want you to specifically focus on your authority. Your authority will tell you how you deal with certain things. Okay? Not only will it tell you how you deal with certain things, it will tell you how to understand what yes is and what no is in your energy, making it by far one of the most powerful tools that you can learn about. Okay, and with my clients, I only use the top part of the chart, and that's it. I don't use the rest of the chart. Okay, so you could just learn about the top part of my chart. I'm not very good at video editing, otherwise you would see it right here. I don't know how to do all that. So but you can go to genekeys.com and pick up the chart, and you can see what I'm talking about. We are talking about your authority, your inner authority. It will tell you how you can figure out what yes and no is, because it's based on your energy. Okay, so but you want to practice what yes feels like in your body, and it must be a hell yes, because if it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. And the more and more you practice doing hell yes, the easier it's going to be for you to do no. So my daughter came in, so I don't even know where I was at now. Now I'm starting to realize why the prompter is a good idea. But I want you to start practicing yes versus no, because yes is so much easier to say than no. Because when we say no, we're worried about what other people are going to think, how other people are going to react, whether or not we hurt their feelings, whether or not there's going to cause a fight, right? So it's so much easier for you to understand what yes is, rather than forcing yourself to say no when you may have never, ever implemented a boundary before in your life. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We all start somewhere. So I want you to practice with yes. And then I want you to notice what you like and what you don't like, okay? And then speak up about those kinds of things. That's how simple it is. Most of us, we already do these boundary things, but we don't consider them boundaries because they feel natural to us. And so because they don't feel natural to us, then it's like, oh, it's a boundary. It's a boundary. No, you do boundaries all the time, okay? So speak up about the things that you like or don't like, right? So this could be like, maybe you like chocolate ice cream and maybe you don't like vanilla, or vice versa, okay? It's that simple. Start to recognize these things about you so that you feel very comfortable being like, you know, I don't like vanilla ice cream. It's just not my jam. That's not my thing. It is what it is, right? Because it doesn't mean anything to anybody else because you don't like vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream or whatever the case may be. Maybe you don't even like ice cream in general. So do you see where we're flowing? Do you see what I'm getting at? Then what I want you to get very clear on are your values and your morals, because this will help you make decisions in your partner. This will help you make decisions in everyday life, who you work for, who you work with, what kind of work that you're doing, right? And so it becomes very much your structure, right? Your foundation that we have been talking about this whole video. And when you learn how to properly lay down this foundation, you become the most powerful person that you know, because you know what yes is, you know what you like, you know what your values are, you know what your morals are, and then you start to become very confident with yourself and knowing what you like and knowing who you truly are at your core is essentially what we're establishing here. Okay, when you do this, okay, you then become very worthy of yourself. You feel worthy. You feel good enough. You feel like you are enough. And then that's when the no gets easier. That's when you feel okay with the no, even though it hurts someone's feelings, even though someone reacted to it. You feel like you can stand strong because you know who you are. You know what you bring to the table. You know what hell yes feels like for you. And all of that has been a building block so that you can get to the peace and being like, no, I'm okay with that, but only within this box. I'm not going to give away free coaching and messaging. I'm not going to do that for free because I know that normally that would cost $500. I'm not going to hold your hand through this you're not the client for me. This is not what I expected, so I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to say yes because I feel obligated. So the answer is no. Or just no, right? So the reason why I want you to start focusing on the yes before the no is because if you struggle with the no, you struggle with the yes. And so you're just all over the place. You have no idea. Part of the problem is that people are not self-aware enough to realize that they struggle with yes just as much as they struggle with no. This is the same type of concept where people want to feel joy and that's all they ever want to feel, but they cut off feeling sadness, okay? And if you're cutting off feeling sadness, you're cutting off feeling joy. It is the same concept here. If you are not allowing yourself to say no, I can guarantee you're struggling with saying yes too. And this is why we're gonna go and do the opposite of what everybody is telling you that you should do with your boundaries. You're going to focus on the positive because it's so much easier to say yes than it is to say no. And then you build that confidence and then you feel worthy with that. And then you feel like you can absolutely say no. And what I want you to do or realize is that this is going to be a baby steps thing. Okay. This is why I had you focus on what kind of ice cream you like, what really feels like hell yes, because there are going to be some things that you're going to need to baby step with. Okay. So let's say you've never ever said no your entire life. Okay. You've always just let people kind of pick for you, or you're very much like when your partner is like, hey, what do you want to have for dinner? And you're like, I don't know, whatever you want. But really deep down inside, you want like, I don't know, Chick-fil-A or whatever. I don't even know why I said that. I've only eaten there like twice and I'm not that impressed. Anyway, so, and that's really what you want to eat. Or maybe your partner is like, hey, I want to go eat at such and such restaurant, and you really don't like the restaurant, but you've never spoken up about it. You can start to do these things and say, no, I don't really want to go here, right? Because if he's asking you or your partner is asking you where you want to go, the decision is ultimately yours, right? So it's almost giving you permission to feel comfortable with saying no or feel comfortable with saying something else. So start in these very comfortable and safe areas where you feel like you can confidently say no, or where you feel like you can confidently speak up. And then this will help you build that foundation again to getting to the bigger parts of saying no. And this is going to be huge, especially if you are on the brink of burnout because you have clients that are completely taking advantage of you. The reason why clients are completely taking advantage of you and you have to babysit them and you have to hold their hand and you have to walk them through everything and you're constantly giving free coaching in the DMs is because they know that they can take advantage of you. Okay, I know that we don't want to hear this, but everybody is like a child. If I can keep taking from you and keep taking from you and keep taking from you, I'm going to. And we all know that there are certain people in our lives that we can do that to until there's a self-aware person enough that's like, I don't want to take advantage of that person, right? But it happens, and it happens because we don't feel worthy enough to stand strong in our boundaries, which is essentially saying that we do not know who we are enough to feel comfortable saying no about something that we know is not for us. And so this is why we're going to do a 360 on focusing on these boundaries and the way that we focus on boundaries, because it's actually hurting you to focus on no. Okay, everybody is scared of no. I want to be able to just say no as a full sentence. Okay, well, how many times do you say yes as a full sentence? Okay, we have to get good at accepting the opposite before we think that we can step into the opposite when it feels super uncomfortable for us. Okay, the reality is that there's not any like tips and tricks that is the magic bullet and then you're set boundaries for the rest of your life. The truth is that if you truly want to feel really confident and comfortable setting boundaries, and even with the practice of focusing yes, you need to heal your childhood trauma, and you want to make sure that you unlearn all of your unhealthy childhood conditioning. Because otherwise, it doesn't matter what I say. You won't implement any boundaries, you won't stand strong in them, and you'll be afraid to say no for the rest of your life. So one of the biggest, or the two biggest components to all of this, even if you do practice saying yes and do practice with the baby steps and learn who you are and figure out your values and your morals and all of those things, if you do not heal your past, it won't matter. And it won't matter because you're not going to just wake up one day and be like, I'm just going to start implementing boundaries and I'm going to be really good at it. It doesn't actually work that way. And if you've been on the brink of burnout for a really long time, it's an indication that you have been struggling with these things much longer than you've owned a business. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. I just want you to be aware of where you're at. And that's okay. That's okay. We all start somewhere. But implementing boundaries is ultimately about you knowing who you are, feeling worthy, and feeling like you're enough, and practicing saying yes first. And of course, healing all your stuff. Because if you don't heal all your stuff, it just won't matter. It just won't. Okay, this is what I have for you in today's universe show. Please let me know if you have any questions about implementing boundaries. Please let me know how the week went for you in implementing boundaries. I hope that this was helpful, and I will see you next week. Bye.